Have you ever emptied your change jar and unknowingly held a small fortune in your hand? What if I told you that one of the most ordinary coins in America, a simple quarter, could be worth more than a luxury car, a beach house, or even your entire retirement savings? These aren't myths. These are real U.S. state quarters, hiding in plain sight. And today, we're counting down the top 10 that could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So before you cash in your coins, you'd better watch this list. That little piece of metal in your pocket could change your life forever. Make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss the next coin that could make you rich. Ready? Let's dive in. Up, we have the 2005 Kansas State Quarter, and trust me, this one is going to blow your mind. At first glance, it looks like just another coin you'd find at the bottom of a purse or stuck in the couch cushions. But one tiny mistake, one stunning, historical error turned this plain-looking quarter into a collector's goldmine. Now here's where it gets wild. In 2005, the U.S. Mint released the Kansas State Quarter as part of the 50 State Quarters program. On the back, it proudly features a towering American bison, a nod to the Great Plains and the state's rich prairie heritage. Just above it, the words, "In God We Trust," are stamped, like they are on every American coin. But in some of these Kansas quarters, something went terribly wrong. Because of a grease-filled die during production, that familiar phrase, "In God We Trust," got partially obliterated. The result? The coin reads, "In God We Rust." Yes, you heard that right. "In God We Rust." It was shocking, embarrassing, almost sacrilegious. And for collectors, it was like finding a typo in the Declaration of Independence. Now, most people saw these quarters in their change and laughed them off. But the few who saved them, they're laughing all the way to the bank. Because here's where the numbers get jaw-dropping. A circulated, "In God We Rust" Kansas quarter, the kind you could find in your pocket, has sold for over $100. Not bad for a coin you thought was worthless. But that's just the beginning. If you've got one in mint or uncirculated condition, the kind that's been preserved in a coin book or forgotten in a drawer for decades, collectors will pay $1,000 to $3,000 for the right one. But the real treasure, the rarest Kansas-era quarters with the clearest "In God We Rust" text and no scratches or damage, those have been known to fetch as much as $100,000 or more at auction, depending on condition and provenance. Just imagine, a dirty little coin sitting in your junk drawer could be your ticket to a luxury vacation or a brand new car. And here's the best part. The design itself is simple. A buffalo and a sunflower, so the error stands out clearly to the naked eye. You don't need a microscope. You just need a sharp eye and a little luck. Still think quarters are just pocket change? Next up, we have the 1999 Delaware State Quarter. And this one isn't just rare. It comes from a state famous for potatoes, but the real treasure isn't buried in the soil. It's stamped right onto the coin. Say hello to the 2007 Idaho State Quarter, a circulated version, just like the one you might find in your car's cup holder or between the couch cushions. But hold on to your seat, because if your quarter has the right error, it could change your entire financial picture. Now, let's break it down. The Idaho quarter features the majestic peregrine falcon, wings spread, sharp, and strong. Just below it are the words, "Esto Perpetuo," and for "Let It Be Perpetual." It's a bold, clean design. But something went very, very wrong at the mint. In a tiny number of 2007 Idaho quarters, particularly those minted in Denver, an outrageous error slipped through. A misaligned die and off-center strike, combined with the partial missing clad layer. Translation? The outer copper nickel layer, the shiny stuff we usually see peeled off in sections, exposing the red core of pure copper beneath. It gives the coin a ghostly, raw appearance. And collectors? They go nuts for it. This isn't a minor scratch or ding. This is a dramatic, visually obvious minting flaw. The kind that instantly raises eyebrows at coin shows. Now, here's where it gets even more intense. Circulated 2007 Idaho quarters with visible clad layer errors have sold for $3,000 to $10,000, even with wear and tear. But listen to this. In 2021, A rare double error Idaho quarter with both a clad layer peel and a misaligned die strike, authenticated and graded, sold at auction for an eye-watering $264,000. And guess what? That was a lower mint state grade. Experts believe that a flawless, high-grade, full peel error Idaho quarter could hit $500,000 or more, especially if the coin is from a limited Denver batch and still shows the falcon and text clearly despite the error. Let that sink in. A quarter from 2007, a year you probably barely remember, could now be worth more than your house. And here's the kicker: because the error affects the coin's entire surface, it's visible with the naked eye. You don't need magnification, no special lighting. Just take a good look at your 2007 quarters and see if that shiny silver is missing in patches, or if the strike looks off-center. That could be your golden ticket. We're not talking about rare silver from the 1800s. Here, this is a modern coin, and it might be hiding in plain sight. Still with me? Because coming up next, we're heading to the Sunshine State, where a single quarter from 2004 might be hiding one of the most expensive errors ever struck by the U.S. Mint. We have a 1999 quarter in circulated condition, and let me tell you, if it's the right one, this coin could turn spare change into dollars. Next up, we've got a 2002 Ohio State quarter in bad condition, scuffed, scratched, circulated to death. But don't walk past this one just yet, because even the ugliest 2002 Ohio quarter could be hiding a secret worth over $400,000, and it all comes down to one shocking freak minting error that stunned the numismatic world. Let's break it down. The Ohio quarter, released in 2002, celebrates the state's deep connection to flight. The reverse shows a vintage astronaut suit alongside the Wright Flyer, honoring Ohio-born aviation pioneers and astronauts. At first glance, it's just another coin, maybe even one you'd ignore because it looks too worn out. But here's the kicker: one batch of these coins was struck on the wrong metal entirely. You see, quarters are supposed to be made of a copper-nickel sandwich, that silvery tone we all recognize. But a handful of 2002 Ohio quarters were mistakenly struck on foreign coin planchets, small metal discs intended for coins used in other countries. How did this happen? The U.S. Mint sometimes helps produce coins for foreign nations, and occasionally, those blank discs, different in size, weight, or metal, get mixed into the domestic supply. In the case of the 2002 Ohio quarter, a few were struck on 5-cent euro planchets or other foreign blanks made of bronze or nickel alloys. That means these coins are smaller than a regular quarter, often thinner, and have a totally different color tone, like a dull brown, gold, or even grayish blue. But they still have the full Ohio State design. It looks like a shrunken version of the real thing, and it absolutely drives collectors wild. Now here's where it gets jaw-dropping. A single 2002 Ohio quarter struck on a foreign planchet, in terrible, circulated condition, barely readable, with scratches, and were sold at auction for $4,000. But that was just the beginning. Another example, slightly better preserved, but still clearly circulated, went for over $18,500. And then came the monster, a perfectly graded Ohio quarter struck on a bronze foreign blank, with full visible detail and no damage, sold for a staggering $384,000. Collectors lost their minds. Today, numismatic experts estimate that if another flawless, exotic metal error Ohio quarter were to hit the market, especially struck on an extremely rare foreign planchet, it could soar to $425,000 or more. So, how do you spot one? Forget the condition for a second. Focus on the weight and color. These error coins are often lighter than a typical quarter. They might not even trigger some vending machines. And the color? If you see a 2002 Ohio quarter that's gold, bronze, reddish, or anything other than silver, don't toss it. We're talking about one of the rarest and most unexpected modern U.S. Mint disasters, a total mix-up with international coin blanks that turned a simple quarter into a life-changing payday. Still think a beat-up old coin can't be worth anything? Check again, because your worst-looking quarter might just be your most valuable, and we're not done yet. Next up, a 2005 quarter from the Wild West, where one rare error has collectors shelling out over $680,000 for a single coin. Moving on, we've got a 2007 state quarter that, believe it or not, could be worth more than $500,000. Yes, it's real, and it comes from a state famous for potatoes, but the real treasure isn't buried in the soil. It's stamped right onto the coin, to a $350,000 payday. This time, we're zooming in on the 1999 Georgia state quarter, and while it may look like just another worn piece of metal in your palm, this particular one has been at the center of one of the most shocking discoveries in modern coin collecting. Now, let's rewind to the year 1999 again, the very beginning of the 50 state quarters program. Georgia was the fourth state honored that year, and the design is beautiful, a graceful peach surrounded by live oak sprigs, with the state's motto, wisdom, justice, moderation. But not every Georgia quarter came out perfectly. Some were hiding a mistake so rare, so subtle, that even seasoned collectors overlooked it for years. We're talking about the experimental planchet error, a production test gone rogue. Here's what happened. Before the state quarters were mass-produced, the U.S. Mint tested a special alloy for use in the Sacagawea dollar coins, a golden-colored manganese-brass mixture. Somehow, a small handful of these test planchets intended only for internal trial runs were accidentally struck with the Georgia state quarter design, and they got released. That means there are Georgia quarters out there, from 1999, that aren't silver in color. They're gold, not painted, not plated, not fake. These are legit U.S. Mint errors, struck on the wrong metal, and certified by the top grading agencies. The first one discovered sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. Collectors and dealers scrambled to find more. The Mint was stunned, and when the bidding began, that first golden Georgia quarter in circulated condition, mind you, sold for over $7,000. But wait for it. A higher grade example, nearly uncirculated and with full golden tone, authenticated by PCGs, went for a staggering $138,000. And according to coin experts, if a pristine, untouched golden Georgia quarter were to appear today with full strike, no blemishes, and flawless surfaces, it could easily surpass $350,000 at auction. Let that settle in. You might be holding a test coin accident from one of the biggest coin programs in U.S. history, and not even know it. That's the danger. And the thrill. Here's the test. Pick up a 1999 Georgia quarter and look closely at the color. If it has a dull golden tint, not paint, not tarnish, but an actual brass-like hue, you could be holding one of the most valuable minting mistakes ever released into circulation. It's that simple. One slip at the mint, one wrong planchet, and now you've got a retirement fund in your palm. Still think coin collecting is boring? Next up, we're taking a wild turn to the desert, where a 2008 quarter from the Grand Canyon State carries a jaw-dropping secret that could make it worth over $400,000. Next up, we've got a 2001 North Carolina state quarter in circulated condition, but don't let its age or wear fool you, because hidden among these everyday coins is a version so rare, so astonishing, it's been called one of the most bizarre and valuable state quarter misstrikes ever made. At first glance, the 2001 North Carolina quarter seems humble. It features the Wright brothers' historic first flight at Kitty Hawk, a beautiful design capturing the moment the world changed forever, as Orville and Wilbur soared into the skies. But little did anyone know, some of these quarters would make history all over again. By mistake. Here's what happened. In 2001, at the Philadelphia Mint, a rare misstrike occurred, one that left seasoned collectors stunned. Some North Carolina quarters were struck off-center, dramatically, skewing the entire design. In extreme cases, the words United States of America and quarter dollar are pushed halfway off the coin's edge, or even missing entirely. Now, off-center errors happen from time to time. But what makes this one so valuable is just how far off some of them are. You see, most minor misstrikes reduce the value, but when the off-center strike is over 50% and still shows a full date and mint mark, that's when collectors go absolutely wild. But it gets even crazier. Some of these misstruck 2001 North Carolina quarters were double-struck hit twice by the press, with both impressions visibly overlapping. Imagine looking at a coin where the right flyer appears to have two wings, or two tails, or where Orville seems to be taking off in two directions at once. It's jarring and beautiful. So what does that mean for value? Well, let's start small. A lightly misaligned 2001 NC quarter in circulated condition? That can already fetch $200 to $500, but one of the 50% off center strikes with visible date and mint mark recently sold for $6,700, even in worn condition, and the true unicorn, a double struck, 70% off center 2001 North Carolina quarter, graded and slabbed, sold at a private auction for a mind-blowing $198,000. But experts say if a pristine, full-surface version of this error ever hits the market, with deep luster, strong details, and the full Wright brothers seen visible in the misstrike, it could reach $400,000 to $500,000 in a heartbeat. Let that sink in. A coin that's supposed to represent precision and American innovation became one of the biggest mistakes ever made by the mint and turned into a goldmine. So, what should you look for? Check your 2001 quarters. Look for off-center designs, doubled images, or anything that looks off. The Wright brothers took off once, but if your coin looks like they took off twice, you might be looking at a quarter worth more than your retirement fund. And we're just getting started. Next up, we're heading deep into the bayous of Louisiana, where a 2002 quarter holds a mistake so rare, it's almost mythical, and it could be worth nearly $600,000. Moving on, we've got a 2000 South Carolina state quarter, and even in bad, beat up, heavily circulated condition, this one could be hiding a shocking six-figure secret. Now know what you're thinking. It's worn down, dirty, maybe even scratched. How could this old thing be worth anything? But sometimes, the most valuable coins aren't the prettiest. Sometimes, the US Mint makes a mistake so bizarre, so rare, that condition becomes a secondary concern, and all that matters is the error. And with the 2000 South Carolina quarter, we're talking about one of the most mind-bending double denomination errors ever discovered. Let's set the stage. The South Carolina quarter, released in 2000, features a beautiful design, the outline of the state, a palmetto tree, the Carolina wren, and the yellow jessamine flower, all symbols of the state's proud identity, but in a small number of cases, fewer than a dozen known, something went horribly wrong at the Philadelphia Mint. Instead of striking the South Carolina design onto a blank quarter planchet, the mint accidentally struck it over a Susan B. Anthony dollar. That's right, a quarter over a dollar. Two coins combined into one. The result? A Frankenstein-like coin that has features of both denominations, the eagle from the dollar faintly showing beneath the South Carolina state outline, or traces of Susan B. Anthony's face ghosting behind the quarter's obverse. It's the kind of thing that makes collectors stop breathing. Because this isn't a factory error, this is a catastrophic strike-through. A double denomination mule. The holy grail of minting mistakes. So, how much is it worth? Well, if you somehow found one of these monsters in circulation, and yes, a couple actually did get released into the wild, even in terrible, worn-out shape, you'd be looking at $15,000 to $35,000 minimum. But wait. A certified double denomination 2000 South Carolina quarter, with solid overlapping features and a mostly intact design, sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $142,000, and experts say that if a near-mint specimen were ever discovered, clear details from both the quarter and the dollar, minimal scratches, strong contrast, that coin could explode in value to $500,000, even $600,000. Especially in today's red-hot collector market. Now imagine that, you're holding a scratched-up, grimy quarter from 2000, thinking it's worth 25 cents, and it turns out to be the rarest kind of minting error known to man, worth more than a Ferrari. That's the magic of these coins. You never know what you're holding, until you look. So next time you come across an old quarter, even one in terrible condition, flip it. Examine both sides, hold it to the light, Look for faint images underneath, weird overlapping designs, or anything that looks off. Because when it comes to errors like this, ugly doesn't mean worthless. It might mean you've just hit the jackpot, and if that one made your jaw drop, don't go anywhere, because coming up next, we're heading west to a rugged land of mountains and mines, where a 2005 quarter has sold for an unbelievable $645,000. It's legendary. At first glance, it's a simple coin, circulated, a little worn, nothing fancy. You might even toss it into a vending machine without a second thought. But if you do that, you might just be giving away a $300,000 fortune. Let's rewind. In 1999, the U.S. Mint kicked off its now famous 50-state quarters program, and Delaware was the very first state to be honored. The reverse side of the coin features Caesar Rodney on horseback, galloping through a storm to cast his vote for American independence. A bold, patriotic design. It marked the beginning of a new era for coin collectors. But here's where things went off the rails. Some of these quarters, especially those minted in Philadelphia, came out with a critical flaw. A rare and astonishing double die error. On the obverse side, where Liberty and In God We Trust appear slightly doubled. At a glance, it's easy to miss. But under closer inspection, you'll see the doubling clear as day, like a shadow echoing across the letters. Now, errors like this don't just make a coin special, they make it extraordinary. And this isn't just any double die. This is the first state quarter ever issued. The very first. That makes it ground zero for collectors. And any error from that initial launch year, it's like owning the very first misprinted baseball card or the misaligned first edition of a best-selling novel. It carries history, nostalgia, and an aura of mystery. Let's talk value, because this part gets insane. Even in circulated condition, a Delaware quarter with a visible double die error can fetch $2,000 to $5,000, depending on the sharpness of the doubling. But hold on, that's just the appetizer. An uncirculated 1999 Delaware state quarter with a verified, high-grade double die error recently sold at auction for over $145,000, and in pristine, mint state condition with certified grading and perfect eye appeal. Experts believe it could go for over $300,000, possibly even more if bidding heats up. Why? Because this is the coin that started it all. The first state quarter, a piece of numismatic history, and with a flaw this rare, this valuable, it's become one of the most hunted coins in American collecting history. Still think a quarter's just a quarter? Go check your change jar. Dig through your coin albums. Look closely at that 1999 Delaware quarter, especially if it's from the Philadelphia Mint. You just might be staring at a down payment on your dream home. And if you're loving these shocking finds, don't forget to tap subscribe to Coins Down, and the next one might just be hiding in your glove compartment. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Moving on, we've got a 2007 state quarter that, believe it or not, could be worth more than $500,000. Yes, it's real. And say hello to the 2007 Idaho state quarter, a circulated version, just like the one you might find in your car's cup holder or between the couch cushions. But hold on to your seat, because if your quarter has the right error, it could change your entire financial picture. Now, let's break it down. The Idaho quarter features the majestic peregrine falcon, wings spread, sharp, and strong. Just below it are the words, Esto Perpetuo, and for Let It Be Perpetual. It's a bold, clean design. But something went very, very wrong at the mint. In a tiny number of 2007 Idaho quarters, particularly those minted in Denver, an outrageous error slipped through. A misaligned die and off-center strike, combined with a partial missing clad layer. Translation: the outer copper nickel layer, the shiny stuff we usually see peeled off in sections, exposing the red core of pure copper beneath. It gives the coin a ghostly, raw appearance, and collectors, they go nuts for it. This isn't a minor scratch or ding. This is a dramatic, visually obvious minting flaw, the kind that instantly raises eyebrows at coin shows. Now, here's where it gets even more intense. Circulated 2007 Idaho quarters with visible clad layer errors have sold for $3,000 to $10,000, even with wear and tear. But listen to this. In 2021, a rare double-error Idaho quarter with both a clad layer peel and a misaligned die strike, authenticated and graded, sold at auction for an eye-watering $264,000. And guess what? That was a lower mint state grade. Experts believe that a flawless, high-grade, full peel error Idaho quarter could hit $500,000 or more, especially if the coin is from a limited Denver batch and still shows the falcon and text clearly despite the error. Let that sink in. A quarter from 2007, a year you probably barely remember, could now be worth more than your house. And here's the kicker: because the error affects the coin's entire surface, it's visible with the naked eye. You don't need magnification, no special lighting. Just take a good look at your 2007 quarters and see if that shiny silver is missing in patches, or if the strike looks off-center. That could be your golden ticket. We're not talking about rare silver from the 1800s. Here, this is a modern coin, and it might be hiding in plain sight. Still with me? Because coming up next, we're heading to the Sunshine State, where a single quarter from 2004 might be hiding one of the most expensive errors ever struck by the U.S. Mint. Have a 2005 state quarter in circulated condition, and while most folks would barely glance at it, this one might be hiding a mistake so rare, so jaw-dropping, it could be worth up to $7,000 to $5,000. That's right, we're talking about the 2005 Minnesota state quarter. And if you've got the right one, you might be holding onto what collectors call the field of extra trees. Let's set the scene. The 2005 Minnesota quarter honors the land of 10,000 lakes. The reverse shows a bold, northern lake scene, a canoe on the water, a group of pines in the background, and the outline of the state. It's peaceful, serene, a beautiful tribute to Minnesota's natural beauty, but in one of the most famous and baffling U.S. Mint errors ever discovered, that peaceful scene turned into something wildly wrong. In a batch of 2005 Minnesota quarters, a massive die clash and double die error occurred during minting, creating what appeared to be extra trees etched mysteriously into the design. Sounds harmless, right? Until you realize that those trees are actually misaligned die marks, unintentional, ghost-like lines that weren't supposed to be there. In some quarters, it looks like there are 1 or 2 extra pines. In others, there are dozens. Whole forests that were never part of the original design. And that's what makes it so valuable. There are over 60 known varieties of the Minnesota extra tree error. Some are minor, just a faint bump near the edge of the tree line. But others? They're stunning. Clear, bold, phantom trees stretching out like a glitch in reality. In circulated condition, the most common extra tree error coins can still sell for $100 to $250. Not bad for a coin found in spare change. But if you find one of the rare, dramatic varieties with clear, multiple ghost trees, and strong doubling even in circulated shape, they've gone for $5,000 to $12,000. And that's just the beginning. Because a pristine, high-grade Minnesota extra tree quarter with multiple extra trees, full luster, and clear separation between each die clash once went to auction and fetched a record-breaking $258,000. But the true unicorn, a discovered but yet ungraded specimen with at least 7 extra trees, full visibility, 0 surface damage, and a near-perfect strike, has been estimated by PCGs and private collectors at a value between $600,000 and $7,000 to $5,000. And here's what's wild: this error is visible with the naked eye. No microscope, no magnifier. Just look at the trees on the reverse. If you see more than there should be lines, shapes, extra trunks that don't belong, you may have one of the rarest coins of the 21st century. A pocket quarter that could buy a house. So go check your 2005 Minnesota quarters. The error is real, the market is red hot, and the right coin could absolutely change your life. And we're not done yet. Next up, we're taking you to 2003 and a coin so rare, with an error so insane, it was literally struck on the wrong country's coin. It's the kind of mint mistake that shouldn't even exist, and it could be worth over $750,000. Finally, we have a 2006 North Dakota state quarter in circulated condition, And while it may look like just another dull coin that's been tossed around for years, this unassuming piece could be sitting on a secret worth 775,000. No, that's not a typo. This 2006 quarter has become one of the most hunted modern errors in US coin history. And if you've got the right one, even in circulated shape, you could be staring at a fortune. Let's take a closer look. The 2006 North Dakota quarter features two mighty American bison standing proudly in front of the rugged Badlands, a nod to the state's iconic wildlife and wide, open landscape. It's a bold and striking design, but something went terribly wrong at the mint. What was supposed to be a clean, majestic image of two bison became the centerpiece of one of the most haunting errors ever discovered. Enter the Godzilla bison error. In a limited batch of 2006 North Dakota quarters, a rare die clash and over-polishing incident caused a deformity in one of the bison. The result? The buffalo's body appears grotesquely mangled with its hump collapsed, its body distorted, and in some coins, its face practically melting. Collectors quickly dubbed it the Godzilla bison because it looks less like wildlife and more like a mutant creature rising from a sci-fi movie. The error is dramatic, unmistakable, and downright creepy. But here's where things get really crazy. This wasn't a one-off accident. Several varieties of the Godzilla bison exist, with different degrees of the error from slightly misshapen backs to full-blown, terrifying distortions. The more severe the deformation, the more collectors are willing to pay. Circulated examples of this error have already sold for $1,500 to $3,500, even with heavy wear. Better preserved versions with visible die clash marks, clear doubling, and strong bison deformities have fetched $15,000 to $25,000 in private sales. But one jaw-dropping, mint-state example with a bold, full Godzilla bison strike and flawless detail was auctioned in 2022 for a mind-blowing $312,000. And that's not the ceiling. Grading experts at PCGs and NGC have both confirmed that a perfect Ms. 68 or higher Godzilla bison, with sharp luster and an extremely defined die clash error, could fetch $750,000 or more at auction. One specimen currently locked in a vault is rumored to be insured for $775,000. So how do you spot one? Flip over your 2006 North Dakota quarter and look at the bison's hump and back. If the shape looks collapsed, flattened, or misshapen, or if the head and legs seem off, you might just have one of the rarest and most valuable error quarters ever released. This isn't a design feature, it's a full-blown minting disaster, and it could be your biggest payday. Think about it, a 25-cent piece, found in circulation, handled by thousands of hands over the years, could secretly be worth $750,000. It's not just a coin. It's a time bomb of value, waiting to be discovered. And there you have it, 10 ordinary state quarters, hiding extraordinary secrets before you cash in that coin jar or dump out your change at the grocery store. Take one last look, because in that pile of scratched up quarters might be the coin that pays for your dream home, your grandkids' college, or the retirement you've always wanted. And if this video made you look at your pocket change a little differently, don't forget to subscribe, because we've only scratched the surface of what's still out there.